Let's cut the fantasy right now. Kindness, on its own, is a losing strategy. If you still believe that being a good person is enough to thrive in this world, you're lying to yourself. And not even convincingly. Deep down, you feel it. In every moment you've swallowed your pride and been trampled anyway. How many times have you done the right thing, only to be dismissed, ignored, or outright used? You showed up with good intentions, and they walked right over you. We were all raised on the same comforting lie. That virtue is enough, that honesty gets rewarded, that integrity will somehow win in the end. But look around. This world doesn't run on fairness. It runs on strategy. On people who know how to read the board, not just follow the rules. That's where Machiavelli steps in and shatters the illusion. He didn't romanticize humanity. He saw it for what it is. Unpredictable, opportunistic, and often brutal when it wants something. In The Prince, he didn't preach morality. He exposed it as a double-edged sword. Without the cunning to match it, virtue isn't a strength. It's a trap. So how many times have you fallen into that trap? Think of the people who hold power, the ones who get heard, who get ahead. Do you really think they made it there just by being kind? No. They knew when to play the part, and when to play the game. They understood that morality is a mask and a weapon, depending on how you use it. That's the line between being in control and being used. Your issue isn't that you're too good. It's that you're unarmed. You move through life assuming others are just as sincere as you, but they're not. The world is full of smiling sharks, and whether you realize it or not, you've been bleeding into the water for years. That's why Machiavelli offers a different solution: conscious kindness, strategic empathy, not villainy, clarity. This isn't about throwing away your values. It's about pairing them with insight, reading people, understanding motives, knowing who's genuine and who's circling. Machiavelli said it clearly: if you can't be both loved and feared, choose fear. And chances are, you chose love. You chose to be liked. You chose safety. But what did it actually get you? Not respect, not power, just a soft reputation, the kind people walk all over. Because in this world, kindness without strength doesn't make you admirable, it makes you disposable. Don't get me wrong, I'm not asking you to abandon your decency. I'm telling you to stop being good in a way that makes you vulnerable. The world doesn't reward the righteous. It rewards the calculated. Real virtue isn't submission. It's the art of fusing ethics with strategy. Machiavelli made one thing crystal clear: perception is everything. It's not just about who you are deep down. It's about how others perceive you. Come across as fragile, and they'll treat you accordingly. Project confidence, and they'll show you respect. How many times have you let people cross the line because you didn't want to upset them? How many times have you swallowed your truth just to keep the peace, only to realize that silence cost you more than any confrontation ever would? This isn't about cruelty, it's about precision. The real skill lies in knowing when to act, when to hold back, when to speak up, and when to strike. When used wisely, kindness becomes a weapon. When left unchecked, it turns into your biggest liability. One of the most dangerous myths good people believe is that the world values sincerity. It doesn't. What the world values is control, stability, the capacity to make hard decisions when they matter most. Kindness earns respect only when it's backed by power. Without it, your goodness is noise in the wind. Machiavelli would warn you, don't be a sheep among wolves. Don't let your morals be your chains. True integrity isn't passive, it's sharp and deliberate. It's not about adjusting to your surroundings. It's about learning how to reshape them in your favor. So ask yourself, how much longer will you let life knock you down? How long will you keep being a casualty of your own softness? I'm not asking you to discard your goodness. I'm asking you to refine it, to wield it with intention. Move in silence when the moment calls for it. Know when to offer a smile and when to bare your teeth. Because the world won't bend to fairness, but you can master the rules of this game and still stay true to who you are. Machiavelli didn't write The Prince to turn you into a monster. He wrote it so you could make it out alive and ahead. Now answer honestly. Are you still going to cling to the fantasy that kindness alone will carry you through life? Or are you ready to start using real intelligence? Let me introduce a concept that most people never fully grasp: the power of appearance. Being strong isn't enough. You must look strong. Being intelligent won't help if you don't radiate intelligence. In this world, facts matter far less than how people perceive those facts, and how they perceive you. Think about it. How often have you seen someone incompetent climb higher than someone truly talented? How many times has a manipulator advanced while the hardworking, honest person got stuck? That's not luck. That's not coincidence. People don't follow the morally upright. They follow whoever appears to be in command. The person who manages their image. The one who radiates confidence. The one who seems to have all the answers, even when they don't. And this is where so many good people fail. They believe the truth will speak for itself. That competence alone will shine through. But that's not how reality works. The world doesn't reward those who are right. It rewards those who know how to craft and sell their version of the truth. Machiavelli understood this with absolute clarity. It's not about who you really are. It's about what others believe you are. In the game of power, perception is everything. An insecure leader won't be trusted, even if they're the smartest in the room. A brilliant employee who stays in the background will never be promoted. A person full of value who doesn't project that value will be overlooked. That's why the game isn't just about substance. It's about controlling the story people tell themselves about you. You have to take charge of your image. Shape the impression you leave behind. This doesn't mean you have to lie. It means you must guide attention, highlight what you want them to notice, and let the rest fade into shadow. Consider this. Every time you interact with someone, they aren't seeing the full reality. They're filtering you through their own biases, fears, assumptions, and emotions. The real question is, are you letting those filters distort you, or are you using them to your advantage? If you're genuinely good but come off as weak, people will treat you like a pushover. If you're fair but seem soft, they'll walk all over you. If you're talented but look unsure of yourself, they'll dismiss you. It's really that simple. The skill of shaping perception is what separates those who lead their own lives from those who are forever led by others. And now we step into a darker but absolutely vital domain: the control of information. Have you ever noticed how those in power always seem to know something you don't? How they always seem one step ahead? It's not a coincidence. It's because they understand the value of timing, when to speak and when to say nothing at all. Naive people think that total honesty is a moral duty, that blurting out every opinion and sharing all they know is virtuous. But in truth, information is power, and giving away power always comes at a cost. Machiavelli insisted, a ruler must conceal his true intentions, not because he should lie, but because in a world obsessed with leverage, the one who reveals too much is the easiest to defeat. You must learn to manage what you share. Speak only when it's necessary. Say no more than required. Keep a sense of mystery. Let others wonder what's truly going on inside your head. Because once you become fully readable, once people can predict your every move, you've lost your edge. History's most brilliant tacticians, in politics, business, and beyond, all understood one thing: silence, when used strategically, is as potent as speech. If this message is resonating with you, hit that subscribe button and join the journey. Thanks for being here, and for choosing yourself. Think about someone you admire, someone with real power and presence. Are they the kind of person who spills everything, who lays themselves bare for the world to dissect? Or are they the type who always keeps something in reserve, who plays close to the chest, who always has a move no one saw coming? Most people confuse openness with weakness. They think that holding something back is dishonest. But it's not about deceit. It's about knowing how to manage the flow of information in your favor. Now reflect for a second. How many times have you said too much and regretted it? How many times have you confided in the wrong person, only to see that trust weaponized against you later? How often have you justified yourself to people who didn't even earn the right to an explanation? Power doesn't come from being the loudest voice in the room. It comes from knowing exactly when to speak and when not to. Here's the hard truth almost no one accepts. The person who speaks less, who explains less, is often the one who commands the most respect. Why? Because silence creates doubt. Doubt sparks curiosity, and curiosity hands you control. If you constantly speak your mind without filter, people will get bored. If you feel the need to explain yourself all the time, they'll think you're insecure. But if you choose your words carefully, if you speak only when it matters and leave room for interpretation, people will begin to listen. Which leads to another essential principle: the power of being unpredictable. Predictable people are easy prey. If your behavior is always the same, if your reactions follow a script, others will figure you out and use it against you. But if you're unpredictable, if no one ever quite knows what you'll do next, you become a threat. And threats are respected. Machiavelli understood this better than most. A leader who can be read like a children's book has no real power, but one who maintains an air of mystery, who adapts when necessary, who refuses to be boxed in. That's the type of leader who holds on to power. So ask yourself, do you want to remain transparent and easily manipulated, an open book that anyone can scan and exploit? Or do you want to become a strategist, someone who guards their image, controls what others know, and uses unpredictability as a weapon? Because a good heart without tactics is nothing more than bait. The world won't change its rules for you. You need to learn how to operate within the real rules, not the ones you were taught to believe. And if you do it right, if you implement what actually works, you'll finally stop being a piece on the board and become one of the people moving the pieces. Now here's where things get even more interesting: the power of strategic distance. A lot of people think that power comes from being everywhere, always showing up, always speaking, always visible. But the truth is the opposite. When you make yourself too available, people stop valuing your presence. Scarcity breeds desire. Disappearance creates weight. Think about it. Why do some people command respect just by walking into a room, while others, no matter how hard they try, barely get noticed? It comes down to perceived value. Machiavelli advised that a ruler should never be too easy to reach, not out of arrogance, but because constant familiarity chips away at respect. When you're always present, when you give without limit, people start to expect it. They take your effort, your time, your loyalty for granted. And this principle doesn't apply only to politics or leadership. It's just as true in relationships, at work, and in everyday life. Give too much, and you become replaceable. Be too accessible, and you're no longer seen as a person. You're seen as a resource. Think back. How many times have you given someone everything, only for them to treat it like nothing? How many times have you shown up for everyone, only to be alone when it was your turn to need support? That's not bad luck. That's human behavior. What's everywhere is undervalued. What's rare is cherished. That's why you need to master the art of presence. Control your availability. Set boundaries around your energy and attention. Don't respond to everything right away. Don't make yourself reachable to everyone all the time. Let your absence be noticed. Let your return feel significant. Because when you learn to vanish at the right time, when you know how to ration your energy, people will start chasing you. The real issue? Most people are terrified of pulling back. They think that if they step away, they'll be forgotten. But here's the harsh truth. If the only way you're remembered is by always being around, you were never truly valuable to begin with. The people who leave a lasting mark aren't the ones making the most noise. They're the ones who understand the power of silence. The ones who know exactly when to step aside and when to re-enter with force. Look at history's most influential figures. They're not scattered across every scene. They don't burn themselves out fighting every fight. They choose their moments, and when they show up, everyone pays attention. And that leads us to another pillar of power: emotional control. This is where most people crumble. They think dominance comes from force, from raising their voice, flexing their will, making scenes. But real strength, the kind Machiavelli admired, is rooted in one thing: complete control over your emotions. Because the moment you lose control, the moment you lash out, panic, or overreact, you've handed the reins to someone else. Think back to the last time you got angry or flustered. Who held the upper hand in that moment? It wasn't you. It was the person who got inside your head, the one who made you react. That's the secret. The one who stirs your emotions also steers your actions. And here's the essence of real power: being unshakable. The person who cannot be provoked, who stays grounded regardless of the chaos around them, that's the one truly in control. Whether you're in a debate, a negotiation, a personal argument, or any social situation, the one who holds their composure wins. Always. Because the one who masters their emotions shapes how the world sees them. Machiavelli put it plainly: a wise man acts with cold calculation at all times. That doesn't mean you shouldn't feel. It means you don't let your feelings steer the wheel. It means you refuse to be an emotional puppet others can pull at will. If you get this right, you become untouchable. They may try to rattle you. They may throw provocations your way, test your patience, try to get under your skin. But if you don't flinch, if you remain unreadable, they lose their grip on you. Here's a brutal truth: the people who truly rule the game aren't the most aggressive or forceful. They're the ones who stay calm while everyone else unravels. And now we arrive at the final element, one that quietly separates the impulsive from the powerful: strategic patience. You've come this far, so let's not sugarcoat it. Knowing all of this changes everything. Once you understand how the game works, how perception shapes power, how silence commands attention, and how patience beats impulsiveness, you can no longer pretend you don't see it. You can no longer claim to be a victim of a system you now comprehend. The question is no longer, do you know? It's, what are you going to do about it? You can stay still. Let this awareness remain just an interesting idea in your head, something to reflect on, but never live by. Or you can begin applying it, not in grand gestures, but in small choices. Start holding back when you want to overshare. Pause before reacting emotionally. Step back when instinct tells you to chase. Observe when you would have spoken. Respond with intention instead of impulse. Because power doesn't erupt all at once, it builds, quietly, brick by brick. And so does the image others begin to have of you. And one day, without forcing it, you'll notice something shift. You'll no longer need to fight to be heard. People will listen. You won't have to demand space, they'll give it to you. You won't need to prove yourself. Your presence will speak before you do. Because the world doesn't remember those who merely existed. It remembers those who learned how to play the game and had the courage to rewrite the rules. So now you know the rules. You understand how to win without shouting, how to lead without begging, how to protect your value without needing constant validation. But here's the final truth. None of this matters if you keep acting like everyone else. You can't walk the same roads and expect a different destination. You can't follow the same patterns and hope for a new outcome. If you want something different, truly different, you have to become different. That doesn't mean breaking rules for the sake of rebellion. It means rewriting the script you were handed. It means refusing to be defined by the expectations others imposed on you. Most people live inside a box someone else built for them. They think in limits. They move in loops. They react as expected. They fear standing out because they've been taught that conformity is safety. But the system doesn't reward those who obey it. It consumes them. And that's the secret most never grasp. If you play like the masses, you end up like the masses, forgotten, diluted, irrelevant. The only way to win is to become the anomaly. The one who doesn't flinch when others panic. The one who acts while others hesitate. The one who can't be anticipated, labeled, or dismissed. Be the one who doesn't beg to be seen but forces the world to stop and watch. Because once you begin showing up differently, once you change your energy, your timing, your presence, you change how the world interacts with you. Not by asking for attention, but by commanding it. Not by chasing respect, but by becoming impossible to ignore. Now there's no going back. You've seen the game for what it is, not a place where fairness wins, but a system that rewards those who understand it and dare to use it. You know what works, you know what doesn't. And now, the only thing left is choice. You can ignore everything you've just learned. Pretend it didn't strike a nerve. Go back to being the invisible one, the one who waits, who over-explains, who hopes the world will notice you for being good. But deep down you'll know. You'll feel it every time you bite your tongue. Every time you overextend for someone who wouldn't do the same. Every time you dim your light just to be accepted. Because once you know what power feels like, even for a second, power over yourself, your image, your emotions, your timing, you'll never be satisfied with playing small again. So make your move. Start with something small. A pause, a silence, a glance held longer than usual. Let it grow. Let others wonder what changed in you. Let them guess. Let them talk. Let them feel the shift. Because the world doesn't belong to the loudest. It belongs to those who move with intention. And now, it's your turn to move. Not to ask for permission. Not to wait to be chosen. But to become the one who writes the next chapter. And make sure they remember your name.